Okay, so this is something that I'm gonna do probably for the next, I don't know, few days, mostly because I want to display emotional intelligence on this channel, okay? And then also, I want to make a couple of points. I've talked about the feelings wheel multiple times, and this week we had this like meeting or whatever where we were all talking about how mental health day is like coming up next month, and I realized so many people don't know what the feelings wheel is, and that was like super frustrating. Like, I thought everyone knew what the feelings wheel is. Perk, tell them what the feelings wheel is. That's right. The feelings wheel is basically a circle of descriptive feelings. The long and the short. Now, also, yesterday was the Ethiopian New Year, if you didn't know that. So go follow other Habesha people if you're wondering what that means, if you literally have no idea. Ethiopia is basically like 7 years behind the rest of the world, and so the Ethiopian New Year, it's like 2017 right now in Ethiopia. So a lot of people celebrated that yesterday. That was cool. If you didn't know that happened, yes, that happened. What else? Also, PSA, I don't live in California any longer. I'm not in the Bay Area. I'm not in tech. To the people who are, sending me emails and invites to shit in California, that's very nice. Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't do that work anymore. If you know me from that life, like I said, there is a whole separate space where I will unpack those experiences. I feel like I've written about them before, and my writing is pretty easy to find because I've got a domain in my name where I wrote pretty extensively about it, and I've done podcasts. And so I feel like if you want to know about tech stuff and me, that's super easy to find, especially if you've got the internet. That's just not where I am in my life right now. Like I said, I felt like there was just this wide space and need for us to see human, real world examples of Black women in the world. So now I'm one, right? Okay, because we don't have TV shows that are gonna show this story, and I literally didn't even feel like getting on tonight. But the reason that I got on tonight is because I saw something that kind of disturbed me a little, but I just wanted to sort of be a talking point. Um, I didn't watch the VMAs. I saw a clip of the VMAs though, where so Tyla won another award, and I actually really appreciated her speech where she was talking about how like African music is not only Afro beats, like there's more to African music than Afro beats, and she's probably feeling kind of the burn of being like continuously lumped in with like Afro beats when she's clearly making pop music. So that's a thing. I feel like the only artist who's actually been able to one of the only Black artists who's been able to kind of make that full switch is Rihanna, who's like the pop queen, right? But she's not really making music right now. So that's going to be an interesting story for Tyla. But I thought it was interesting that she even felt the need to say that. It's like, that was interesting. Anyway, what else? Oh, okay. And then I saw that there's some movie out with Ryan Destiny, and okay, so it's a story about some Black girl from Flint, Michigan, who's like a boxer, right? And it seemed like a pretty typical like Black poverty story, Black American poverty story. Am I upset about it? No. I don't know. How can I put this? Like, this doesn't make me feel a particular way. I'm not like really upset. I'm not really invested. Like, I'm not gonna watch the movie, but I think that something that is interesting is like Power right now is like the main Black show. If you guys didn't know this, I don't watch Power. But other people who are not Black, right, are watching Power to understand the poor Black experience. there's probably other parts of it because there's like a million seasons of it, so I don't really know all the shit that's happening. I couldn't tell you, but I do know that Ryan Destiny is an actress on Power. And so right now I feel like she's kind of getting typecast. Not just that she's getting typecast, but also you can't play roles that aren't written, right? Like you, how can you say this? If there's no examples in the real world of something happening, there's no show or movie. Like people want to be actresses and actors and singers and models, all these things, right? But if nobody's creating clothes, then there's no fashion show. If there's nobody living life, there's no parts. If black women kill off all the black babies, do you see where I'm going with this? If there's no more of the people to like occupy the spaces, there's no more movies. So now that's why you see a lot of these movies that are coming out in the black community. Like I talked about Forge and now this one. It has to be some sort of like out of the gutter triumphant story of like a black person who came from nothing and went to something. What about those of us who started with like 100% and now we're at like 80%? What about that story? Nobody tells that story, and that's why I will keep this channel going. And hopefully I'll get some patrons. Like I saw Khadijah, this was great. Also, if any of you guys are, if you're not watching Khadijah, you should fucking be watching Khadijah. Those videos that I made a while ago, just like female creators, black creators, you should be watching. You should really be watching them, because if you haven't been like here for the ride, and like they're talking about really great shit and you should participate in the conversation. I'm so glad there's more people coming into the space. I really like this exotical brown girl, that girl who's making content about shit. A lot of her talking points I heavily agree with. Those are great. I also see a lot of more like regular black American girls who are coming up and talking about things. I think that that's fascinating. I think it's fascinating, and I hope to see more of that. Also, let's just dive into the feeling today, just because I wrote about it and that is like the topic of today. I have a couple of other videos that I need to record. Like I saw the movie Blink Twice, the one written by Zoe Kravitz. And I didn't realize she actually did an interview about this. I made a video about it last night. I just felt like it was just, it didn't look that great. So I'll put it unlisted in the description box. So if you're really, if you really want to see it, you fine. But like, I didn't like the lighting. Anyway, so let's see. Oh, there's another video that I'm going to record about cat ladies. I don't feel like doing that one tonight either, but if you aren't familiar with what's happening with the CMA Awards, obviously I live in Nashville. The country music shit is here. The literal CMAs are here. Like, it's all here, right? So yes, I don't think that Country Carter was a country album. I'm sorry, I don't. Like, I have been here long enough to be able to like understand the country of it. I wouldn't even call it like country pop is something that's new. I like the country pop girls. I don't even feel like it was that. It was like country R&B gospel. It was more gospel than it. Texas Hold'em, and then just taking like really classic country songs that she like redid. I didn't like those either. I feel like Michael Knowles actually talked about this, and I kind of agree. She like changed the story of Jolene, made it a whole different song. It was like, even though like Dolly Parton co-signed, it's not the same song, and it just like switches the meaning, especially since that song in terms of like American country history is like so integral. I have another essay about Tobin Wigway and his aesthetic. I have one about Solange and her aesthetic. These are mostly music video aesthetics. Anyway, sorry, let's get back. I'm just gonna pull up tonight's feeling just so that we can. So basically, I use the feelings wheel to unpack feelings. Okay, and I feel two feelings tonight. I feel apathetic and rejected, so we're gonna talk about that. Describe the feeling apathetic. Feeling apathetic is a state of emotional detachment where you experience a lack of interest or concern about things that usually matter. It's not necessarily sadness or anger, but rather an absence of motivation or care. You may feel indifferent to things that you once enjoyed or tasks that once felt important, finding it difficult to summon the energy or desire to engage. This can apply to work, hobbies, relationships, or even basic self care. When you're apathetic, everything can feel flat or meaningless. Um, Positive events might not bring joy, and negative situations might not elicit stress or concern. You may intellectually understand what you should feel, but the emotions just don't seem to surface. It can be a disorienting feeling because you're aware of the numbness but may not know how to shake it off. Physically, apathy might manifest as a feeling of heaviness or lethargy, where even simple tasks feel burdensome. Emotionally, there's a sense of being checked out or disconnected from the world around you, almost as if you were watching life from a distance. People who feel apathetic often struggle with self motivation and may withdraw from social or personal responsibilities. Apathy can also lead to frustration or guilt, especially when you recognize that you should care about something but don't. However, it's important to note that apathy isn't always a permanent state. Sometimes it's a response to feeling overwhelmed, burnt out, or emotionally exhausted. In some cases, it's a way of protecting oneself from deeper, more painful emotions. In general, feeling apathetic is marked by emotional numbness, disinterest, and a lack of drive, leaving a person stuck in a state of indifference towards life's usual ups and downs. And then another feeling that I feel is rejection by a career. We can talk about this. Feeling rejected by a career you were unsuccessful in can be an intensely personal and painful experience. It often feels like the culmination of hard work, dreams, and aspirations has been dismissed, leaving you with a sense of failure and self-doubt. The rejection isn't just about a job or opportunity, it can feel like a rejection of your identity, skills, and value. You might wonder whether you're good enough, capable, or if you ever truly belonged in that field. This kind of rejection often triggers a deep sense of disappointment, especially if you've invested years of effort, time, and energy into building a path toward success. You might feel like all the sacrifices, whether personal, financial, or emotional, were for nothing. There's often a lingering sense of unfairness, as if you were denied something you worked hard to deserve, and you may grapple with feelings of resentment or bitterness. The emotional impact can also lead to a loss of direction. A career often gives people a sense of purpose and structure, and when that career doesn't work out, it can leave you feeling aimless, unsure of what comes next. The identity you built around that career might feel fractured, as if part of yourself that is tied to that field is now in question. You may begin to doubt your talents or abilities, questioning whether you made the right choices or pursued the right path at all. Socially, the sense of failure can be compounded by comparison. Seeing peers succeed in the same field where you feel rejected can intensify feelings of inadequacy or isolation. You might fear judgment or pity from others, making it difficult to talk about your struggles. Repeated failures or setbacks may even lead to anxiety about future attempts to pursue similar goals, creating a sense of fear and avoidance around the idea of trying again. Ultimately, feeling rejected by a career is a profound emotional experience. It challenges your sense of worth, tests your resilience, and forces you to confront the gap between expectations and reality. And while difficult, it can also be a turning point, a time to reflect, reassess your strengths, and decide whether to pivot toward new opportunities or rebuild and keep pushing forward. Now, the reason I feel this is because in the last few days, I've gotten a couple just invites to machine learning AI things and that are in Silicon Valley, and I don't live there anymore. So like, whoever sent this, like, why couldn't you do more to like understand that, you know, like I deleted my LinkedIn. I'm not networking to try to like grow, and I feel like I've made it very clear to all of the people in my particular lane, which was meta learning, that like I don't intend to be there anymore. Okay. I do like social engineering, and I feel like I participate in that by making YouTube videos about very particular interests that I have and other people typically don't. Um, I will say, and I will put this in the description box in case you're sitting here like, what the fuck is she talking about? I've never heard of this ever. I think I'm going to make another video. I've kind of made one that's a little bit more about like what meta learning is, why everybody's talking about this, and Sora from Open AI, excuse me. I talked about Sam on the channel before. I don't like to repeat myself. So some of those things I will put in the description box. But I will say, if you're here and you want to know more, the way that because I didn't actually go get a PhD or anything like that, but I did kind of work with PhDs for like 3 months and just kind of like, I feel like learn research hacks from them, which was really useful for my life, if I'm honest. And I also basically initially started being really interested in reinforcement learning because I feel like for myself, the way that I grew up, realizing that like I was a woman and Black in America, my own behaviors were shaped out of reinforcement learning. It's just like kind of observing what to do, what not to do, and through practice, trial and error, like seeing exactly what leads to 100% success and making sure to positively reinforce that behavior to ensure success on my own part. So this is why for me, failure in that career path, which I perfectly trotted out to have a a very good chance of success, it not working out, I feel like it's bigger than me. And I've talked about this before, but I honestly feel like I've given up. I think that racism is bigger than me. I don't think that my skills or interests, hobbies, beauty, nothing. I don't feel like any of it is appreciated here, and I don't want to try anymore. Like, I'm done trying. This is me trying. I'm not, okay? Like, I am at this point, like, showing up because, like, unfortunately, someone bought me a ticket and I should just go, right? But fuck this. Like, obviously, I'm not investing in this lame ass ticket for myself. Whatever. I will put a couple links in the description box to people who are actually in the field and a couple of talks you can watch to understand meta learning, because some of you have commented on that video is so old. But go follow those people, go watch those talks. Like, they're on Twitter and they always post events and stuff like that you could just join the Zoom calls for, even if a lot of shit doesn't make sense. Once you've watched like 20 hours, of them talking about this, of you writing things down, researching it, higher level concepts will start to make sense. And it's just like hour after hour, continuing to read papers, continuing to watch talks, continuing to try to make sense of it, talking about it with other people will make it make sense. So that's today. What's today? September 13th. That's kind of what's been happening. So